Hey, what's up guys? It's Andrew with Real Guns, and today I'm excited to do a review of a holster I just got in by Black Arch Holsters. Now this company is pretty cool because they do a lot of research into all their products. I was reading on their website, they test tens, maybe hundreds of materials before they come to a final product at the end. One of the things that they specialize in is comfort, modularity, and breathability for their holsters. They did send me this holster for review, but like all products, they have their pros and cons. I'm gonna try to highlight those as much and as best as I can. And not every holster is for everyone. A holster that might be perfect for you might not be perfect for someone else based on body type and personal preferences. So let's get into it. I'm gonna do a full review of it. If you guys like this video, please like, share, subscribe. And without further ado, let's get started. Now, what I like about this company is that they offer a lifetime warranty on their products, which is always nice to see when a company is willing to stand behind what they actually make. So this is the actual holster that I have. I really like the custom color of the camo print. The company actually offers many different colors to choose from. You can customize your holster however you like it. I chose this one because I have so many holsters that are all black. I thought the camo looked pretty cool, so I wanted to switch it up. You can also adjust the ride height on either side. You can see 3 holes on each side for making that adjustment or adjusting the cant. And of course you could adjust the retention, as you can see here with the spacers, by simply turning the screws tighter or looser depending on what you personally prefer. You can see here that they also have a breathable snag-free mesh on either side. There are actually multiple layers within this, and the idea is that you're able to wick off the sweat and disperse it to either side so it doesn't build up or come in contact with your firearm, causing rust in the future, while at the same time making their mesh still breathable. So before I actually try it on myself, I wanted to demonstrate a few things with my Glock 43. Has been safety checked, and this is Glock 43 that was done by Terran Tactical. They did a few things to it. So they did, for example, their carry stipple. I have Trijicon HD night sights on it, and also have a base plate that gives me a +2 capacity, so a total of 9 rounds with 1 in the chamber. I have a review on it if you guys want to check it out, but basically I just wanted to demonstrate the retention that you get with this holster. So like I was mentioning earlier, you have that wraparound feature, which is really cool, and you get retention from the back side as well. So it actually retains the entire trigger guard, giving you a very solid retention on your firearm, which is very nice. And honestly, it's probably one of the biggest weaknesses for these types of holsters is not having a solid retention, but this company was able to overcome that, and you could also adjust it, of course, on the sides. Now, not to bash on DeSantis, but this is a holster that I had purchased previously, one of my first holsters for my Glock 43, and fits in fine. You don't really have a positive click, but fits in. And after wearing it for a few days, one thing I notice as I'm walking is I hear this, and especially if I'm running, you hear it a little more vigorously. And you don't have adjustable retention on here, and there's no wraparound feature. Basically, this holster is just holding on to one side of the gun. And unfortunately, what that equates to is kind of like a floppy gun in a holster, so it could fall right out. So that doesn't really inspire too much confidence. Kind of reminds me of that story with the FBI agent doing a backflip. So don't want to be in that situation for sure. And unfortunately, this holster really doesn't do it for me. I think if you go to the bathroom and you drop your pants, you could pretty much expect this, sliding into the next stall. So not a good thing for sure. But with this particular holster, you get really solid retention, the kind you would expect on an outside the waistband holster or anything else. So that's something I really like, and definitely one of the benefits of this holster. So in terms of concealability, I think this holster is pretty excellent. I'm going to do a quick turnaround so you guys can see if you can figure out where the gun is, if you see any printing on it. So turn around. Again, with my hands up real quick. So I don't notice any printing on it myself. Prints just as minimal as any of my other holsters, or maybe even better. So that's one of the cool things. And one of the most exciting features about this holster is I'm finally able to carry at my 3 o'clock position. So there's the firearm. That's how I'm carrying it. And usually 3 o'clock is a little problematic for me for a few reasons. And that's why I go to appendix, which is I think something that most people end up doing. So 3 o'clock is a little problematic because it's just pushing across your hip bone here, I believe your iliac crest. And by doing so all day, it's going to give you a bruise. It's going to be very uncomfortable, and you don't want a big bulk of Kydex just rubbing against your bone all day. Definitely not going to be comfortable. Not something you're going to want to carry every day. But with this particular holster and the hybrid concept, what it does is it distributes the weight over a wider amount of space. It also has, you know, a thick layer of mesh comfort that really makes it bearable to carry, I think, makes it pretty comfortable. So that's pretty nice. And of course, you don't have to carry appendix. So unfortunately, because of those reasons, I wasn't able to carry at 3 o'clock, which is, I think, the ideal position if you can use it. So before I was just carrying appendix. And one of the issues with appendix is that, of course, you're violating one of the safety rules. You're basically pointing your gun at something you're most likely willing to destroy, which is your reproductive system for men. And for women, it could be your femoral artery. So definitely not something you really want to destroy, and something you have to be very careful with if you are going to be carrying appendix, which I have been doing for the last several years. But honestly, if I could avoid appendix and avoid pointing it at my reproductive organs, I'm definitely going to do so. So that's why I really like the 3 o'clock where you're not pointing at yourself. Reholstering, of course, you do have to be careful, as always, so not snag on any of your clothes, because, you know, anytime you're carrying inside the waistband, I feel like a shirt or something could get caught inside your trigger guard, and you don't want to have a negligent discharge. But fortunately, if it's pointing away from your body, if you do have a negligent discharge, at least you're not going to hurt yourself. You still have the possibility of hurting someone else, so that's why I always, you know, tell everyone to be very careful when reholstering with that inside the waistband. But for this particular gun, it's pretty cool. Let's do some draws and see how it looks. Ow. So it should look something like that. And reholster carefully. So you could, you know, draw from different positions. So up here, I'm able to get a really good purchase on the firearm. As you guys can tell, I think I got a pretty good grip on it initially, which is something important. If not, you could always adjust the ride height, make it a little higher so you can get a better grip on it initially, but it's really up to you. And the way the firearm really presses against my body is something really nice. And I have the +2 base pad here. So this +2 base pad honestly extends the magazine out, obviously, a little bit more. And, you know, if I wanted to hide the gun a little better, I could definitely use a flush magazine, but it's honestly not really necessary in my opinion. The gun really hugs against my body very well here at this 3 o'clock position. But, you know, aside from that, you know, pretty good. Let's try other positions like sitting and other things you might do during the day, like walking, running, and see how comfortable it really holds up. So in terms of going from a seating to a standing position, you do feel it a little bit. I feel it in my thigh, a little bit on my side, but it's really nothing like gonna stop me from carrying it or deter me. It's something I think you could adjust. Unfortunately, I've always had to adjust a little bit when I sit down. So just that little adjustment makes it really much more comfortable. Not a big deal, not something I think other people really notice. It's always something I had to do also with my appendix carry. Whenever I sit down, I kind of lift it up a little bit so it's not really digging into me. So let me show you guys a little more of what I'm talking about. So as I'm sitting down, you guys can see it digs here a little bit, but I just move it out of the way and it should be fine. So, you know, fits pretty well. And again, even with sitting down, definitely no concealability issues, and just a little bit of adjustment, I think, for comfort, but honestly, it's not a problem at all. You know, the old saying is, you know, carrying a firearm is supposed to be comforting, not necessarily comfortable, but this holster tries to bridge that gap and make it comfortable and comforting, knowing that you're carrying your firearm. So I've been walking with this holster throughout the day, and I have to say that you do feel it there, feel a little pressure on your hip, but it's definitely not something that's going to really deter you from carrying it. It's not really too uncomfortable. I think the mesh that they have here really helps. You know, carrying 3 o'clock, like I said before, is kind of impossible if you're just going to have a Kydex holster without any type of cushion. So the hybrid is probably something essential for carrying at 3 o'clock in my opinion, so it's not really pushing against that hip bone. You know, yeah, you feel a little bit, but it's definitely worth the compromise, I think, from carrying appendix where you're just pointing at yourself. Here is pointing away from you, which, you know, this holster solves a really big safety issue with carrying appendix, which I think is really nice. So definitely worth the compromise in my opinion, something worth carrying, and it also moves with you. Unlike my other holster, you know, I'm really sorry to bash on DeSantis. I'm sure they make great products, but that particular holster that I demonstrated to you guys was not one of them. That one would jump up and down, and chances are it'd be on the floor already. So this holster stays with you. Of course, you want a good belt that you want to carry. So this belt is by Acre. I did an EDC video. If you guys want to check it out, I'll drop a card so you guys can look at it. But this holster is probably going to be going into my EDC, and taking it on and off is very simple. Just as I showed you guys, I didn't even have to look down. The clips are very easy to move on and off. Once it's clipped in pretty well. And one of the nice things about a hybrid holster is that the weight is distributed across a long area of space And that way the holster is also, just by its weight being distributed, is likely to stay in the right position. So putting it in, it's really as simple as that. It just clicks right on in and it's good to go. Another feature I wanted to mention is that the bottom part of the holster is open. So if you did have like a threaded barrel, for example, you shouldn't have an issue at all. You know, it'll work just fine. For you guys EDCing suppressed guns out there, you know, it shouldn't be an issue. Also, since it's open, you know, if it rains or something and you get really, really wet, you know, water's not going to accumulate in your holster. It's just going to flow right through and your gun will dry quicker. And then on the bad side, you know, for some people that like this area closed, you know, it could accumulate lint or dust or things like that. You know, will get inside your barrel a little quicker. But for me, I'd rather have it open. Another one of the benefits of this particular product is that they customize each holster to each gun. And what I mean by that is that the amount of product that they use on the outside, for example, the leather, is as minimal as possible so that you don't have extra bulk and extra things that you're carrying on you in order to, you know, have easier production for them. So they custom make every single holster for each particular model. So as you guys can see here on the sweat guard, for example, there's not a lot of extra space around, and that's going to equal more comfort for the user carrying it. And then another thing I wanted to mention is that you do see here a little bit of space for reholstering. So it does have kind of like a flare, almost like a flare magwell type of concept, where so when you reholster, you know, you have kind of more space to work with and you can do a faster, safer reholstering. So I've mentioned a lot of positive things about this holster, but let me try to go over some of the cons that I've been able to come up with. Honestly, there's not too many of them, but here are just a few. So for example, they do use multiple materials. If for some reason you don't like using leather, you know, this might not be the holster for you. Also, you know, just to let you know, for the leather, it's not because they just wanted leather for whatever reason. They literally tested this against several other products, and this one just so happened to be on top, which is why a lot of companies still use leather in their boots and many other products, just because of its resiliency and its toughness and its ability to deal with moisture. So, you know, that's probably one of the reasons they went with that. But, you know, if leather's not your thing, then maybe this isn't the holster for you. Also, if you are really like dead set on carrying appendix, obviously, you know, this might be a little difficult to carry appendix this way. They do have other models available, so definitely check out their website. I'll leave links below for everything so you guys can look at it. Another one of the cons I was able to find is that, you know, they do have a restocking fee. So if you did not want this holster for whatever reason, you wanted to return it, then there's a 15% restocking fee, but at least they do accept returns, which is pretty nice. And I think the restocking fee is probably just to cover their shipping. I think they meet or at least exceed your expectations. You know, it shouldn't really be an issue. I don't foresee a lot of returns, but you know, everyone's different. Aside from that, you still get the lifetime warranty, and they do have promotions every once in a while. And you know, overall, it seems like a really cool all-American company, which is really nice. I always like to support American companies whenever I can. So the only other potential con that I was able to think of is the price. Now that's going to be subjective for every individual. Honestly, I think it's a very fair price for being made in the United States, having all of this quality and technology and research put into it. I think it's very fair, but this holster costs $79.95 for this particular model. That's where it starts. And I believe if you want certain colorations like this one, it might cost like an extra $5 or something like that. But, you know, check their website for any updates. You know, things are subject to change. This is the type of holster that you keep for several years. You know, buy once, cry once, in my opinion. So again, this was the dual clip inside the waistband IWB Protos M with DRI-MATRIX breathable backer. So that's the name of this particular holster. I'll leave links below so you guys can check it out. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. Also check me out on Patreon, which is We Run Guns, and check out my B channel, which is Mindset Tactics. So thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, leave it down in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think of this holster, or if you have a holster style that you particularly prefer. So thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Appreciate the support. WRG out.